What's up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Rich Talks BS. I'm your host, Rich. Now, there's been a lot going on in the NFL, not so much in the NBA, but NFL, like I've been saying before for the past few weeks, there's going to be a lot going on this offseason. This offseason is going to be like the most active, most moves, most news that I could recall. You got the free agency coming up in a couple weeks. And then the end of the tag period coming up too. That's on March the 9th. But the Cardinals owner Bidwell even mentioned it in an interview the other day where he called it a seismic shift in talent that's going to go around the league because of all the cuts, all the releases. Everybody's trying to make room for the cap, for the salary cap. No one knows what the cap is going to be for this year. Everyone is expecting a lower cap this year. Last year's cap was sitting at 198 mil. This year's cap, they're expecting it to be 180 mil. So, you got those teams that's already over the cap, that's trying to make room, bring their cap down, and others that just have money to spend. We're going to see how that works out. There's going to be a lot of players on the move. There's going to be quite a few free agents. Of course, the one big news in free agency this year was J.J. Watt, being released by the Texans and then signing with the Arizona Cardinals. It was that was pretty interesting based on he was choosing a team on who he thought was a contender, and he chose the Cardinals. So, before he explained his decision or mentioned, why he chose the Cardinals, it had me wondering, what does he see in the Cardinals that he chose them and sees them as a contender? And, it was kind of shocking to me as well as a lot of other people, because the Cardinals were not in the talks. I didn't hear anything about the Cardinals and J.J. Watt being connected. JJ, he announced it on his own social media, and the defense is pretty good. They're not a bad defense, but adding this type of role player, this type of leader, this type of veteran to the defense is just going to make it even better. But it wasn't the defense that brought him to Arizona. It was actually Kyler Murray. And he believes in Kyler Murray. If you've been, following me since the beginning or watching my videos since the beginning, you've heard me talk about Kyler, quite a bit. Especially when he was having good games before his injury. And, he was on a roll. He was looking like an MVP. He was playing, at an MVP status this early in his career, and he was getting it done. The Hail Murray against the Bills, it was just like, okay, they could really make some noise in the NFC. But it didn't go that way. He got injured. He came back. He looked like he was playing a little scared to, re-injure himself or worse. But, Watt believes in Murray. I believe in Murray. This team is going to, make themselves a contender, especially if they add a couple more weapons with Kyler Murray, a tight end, especially whether it's in free agency and or it's in the draft. One tight end though that I can see going to Arizona also is going to be Kyle Rudolph, who was just released by the Vikings the other day, and that's the type of tight end that Kyler Murray needs. If Rudolph goes to the Cardinals, they're going to look way better than they did this past season. And especially on defense with J.J. Watt, I mean, they're just going to run all over the field. Right now, what I see is Watt coming off the end. double teaming Watt, and then Buda Baker right behind him, and either tackling the running back in the backfield for a loss of yards or getting a sack. So it's going to be fun to see. It's going to catch attention of other contenders as well in the NFC to see what are the Cardinals going to do, what can they do, and what are they going to excel at. Speaking of other releases, Kyle Van Noy from the Dolphins was released after 1 year. Josh Gordon was released by the Seahawks. So you got players like that just now being released. These teams are making room in their salary cap, and it's just going to be more coming up in the next couple of days, couple weeks, leading up until the free agency opens up. Ben Roethlisberger taking a $5 million pay cut. He signed a new contract for 1 year for $14 million. His new contract, he's going to receive almost a $13 million signing bonus and a little bit under $2 million base salary. He's also got 4 voidable years in order to spread out his cap hit. Also another cut was the Saints cutting punter Thomas Morstead after 12 seasons. This past season looked like one of his worst seasons. He wasn't really playing well. Kind of looked like his age was catching up to him. I follow him a little bit, especially since he been with the Saints for so long. I like to see players with long tenures with teams, and that's just going to keep my attention. That's going to keep me focused on them at times whenever they need to make clutch plays, or in Morstead's situation, key punts, whether he's punting from the back of his end zone or trying to pin a team back inside the 5. So yeah, that's been done. That's like a little bit over $2 million $2 million cap space. And it's gonna, we'll see what they do with that, whether, they go to free agency. I don't think they're gonna pick up a punter in the draft, so look for them to pick up a punter in free agency. So like I said, there's going to be a lot of moves in the NFL with releases and signings. The new season's about to officially start, so that's where the trades are going to be official, especially with Goff and Stafford, Carson Wentz. Those will be made official coming up in the next couple of weeks. In the NBA, we got All-Star weekend coming up, All-Star week. And, we got the game this Sunday, the 3-point contest, the slam dunk contest, the skills challenge, all in the same night. Can't wait to see that. And, players have been announced, and the team captains have also chosen their team too, also with LeBron and KD. But we'll get into that, in another video. I got a little special for that one. But going into the NBA, we got the player of the month coming out the West is Devin Booker, with who went 12-3 in February. Who's averaging 27.9 points a game, 3.7 rebounds a game, 4.5 assists. He was shooting 39.5% from 3-point range. Coming out the East, he had James Harden. He went 9-4 in February, averaging 25.6 points a game, 8.8 rebounds a game, and 10.7 assists a game. For rookies of the month, coming out the West, you got Tyrese Halliburton, 16.2 points a game, 5.3 assists a game, and 3.8 rebounds a game, averaging. And coming out the East, LaMelo Ball with 20.1 points per game, 6.7 assists a game, and 6.2 rebounds a game. These two here, with the rookies, they're gonna keep going back and forth. Rookie of the month, rookie of the month, rookie of the week. Most importantly though, rookie of the year. They're gonna get rookie of the year. One of these two are gonna get rookie of the year. Is waiting to see what they do in the second half, which I've seen Melo play a few games, and he looks really good. He looks like he's here to stay. He's He's scoring, he's passing. He looks like an all-round player. Um, his defense is not bad, something that maybe needs a little bit more work on. But with him being on this Hornets team, he's fitting in with the pieces around him, and they're actually not looking that bad. Um, and then with Halliburton, he's doing his thing with the Kings. They're not, they're both teams are kind of in the same position, not really elite teams, but they're doing what they can for their team, and they're bringing what they have and what they know to fit in with this team and to fit in with their teams and the pieces that surround them. But right now, I got LaMelo winning Rookie of the Year. It might not be a landslide. It might not be unanimous, but it's going to be a close race for Rookie of the Year. And like I said, just wait and see what they do in the second half of the season. With Booker and Harden, they're having great games. Devin Booker is, underrated and, disrespected as a player, and he's not like he's got the attention. He's just not really getting, the props for actually doing what he's able to do. With this Suns team, he's leading the Suns team. He's got Chris Paul behind him, in front of him, next to him, whatever. But they're a great pairing. They work great together. They're working the floor together. And if they keep going the way they're going, they're going to show that they can actually, make a playoff run, a possible playoff run coming up. But we'll see how that works out. James Harden, having an MVP season, he's doing great. He's having great games. He's already averaging a double-double. He's almost averaging a triple-double. I won't be surprised if at some point in the season he actually averages a triple-double. And especially with having like one of the easiest schedules coming up in the second half of the season, I could see that possibly happening. But James Harden is playing at MVP level. He's not really being talked about in MVP race, but later on in the second half of the season, we'll see how that works out and how everything else starts breaking down, especially with those who are already talked about in the MVP race, who in the top 5 of that MVP race. And speaking of MVPs, for the key of the MVP race, right now we got number 1 Joel Embiid, who's averaging 29.6 points a game, 11.2 rebounds a game, 3.1 assists per game, and 1.3 blocks a game. Joel Embiid is playing great ball. Like I said, James Harden is playing MVP ball. Joel Embiid is playing MVP ball. I watched him the other night, and just the way he was pulling up the threes, come on, this big man is pulling up threes like he's a shooting guard, and they're going down, stepping back, the pump fake, and just pulling up from the three. He's pulling up from almost anywhere, and he's showing why he deserves that MVP this year. He's playing great ball. I don't see it stopping or slowing down in the second half of the season also. So just later on in the season, you're going to keep seeing him in number 1. You're going to see him in the top 3, top 5. I don't see him falling out of the top 3 actually, but he is on his way to his first MVP. Number 2, LeBron James, which no surprise. 25.6 points a game, 8.1 rebounds per game, and 8 assists a game. Like I said, with Joel Embiid, don't be, he's gonna be in the top 3. And it's with him going, neck to neck with the other 4, of the top 5s for MVP. It could almost go either way. It's just, we're going to see how everything's going to play out in the second half of the season. Who's going to slow down, who's going to have their slumps, and who's going to be able to keep up and keep going. LeBron is one that's going to keep going. There's not going to be a slump. He he's gonna play the way he wants to play. He's gonna play the way he needs to play. Watch him keep going up and up in the second half of the season. He's not done winning championships. He's not done, showing the world that he is the best in the world. So them two are going to keep going neck and neck. They're going to keep going head to head for that top spot in the MVP race. Number 3, Nikola Jokic, averaging 26.9 points a game, 10.9 rebounds a game, and 8.4 assists a game. Another one that's almost averaging, a triple-double, and Joker is playing great. Another big man that's hitting shots from anywhere. He looks like a big man, just like Embiid. They're true big men, but playing different games of a big man. They're shooting threes. They're moving around. They're driving the ball like they're shooting guards and point guards. Maybe small forwards, but they're moving around a lot. They're moving swiftly, quickly, smoothly. And Joker is one that actually has some moves. He's good. He's, just doing his thing, helping, doing what he can for this Nuggets team and taking them where they need to be. And, with Murray, side by side with them, they're playing great ball and they're complimenting each other and helping each other to exceed and keep on moving up the way they have been in the past couple weeks. Number 4 is Steph Curry. 30 points a game, 5.5 rebounds a game, and 6.3 assists per game. Curry is having one of his best seasons. He's just doing what Curry does. Curry is doing what Curry does. Curry things. He's cooking. He's cooking. Chef Curry. He is on top of his game with his situation with this Warriors team. They look a lot better than they did last season, and still missing Klay Thompson. They're winning. They're putting up points. He's putting up numbers. This team is doing what they can, and they are actually winning. They're not one of the top teams in the league or one of the top teams in the West, but at the same time, they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. And, whether it's losing big or losing by a few points, being down and coming back to win the game. Kelly Oubre was a great pickup. He is doing his thing. And this Warriors team is starting to look better. They're starting to come together. And I just can't wait to see what they're going to do next season, especially with Klay coming back. But Steph's doing his thing. He's all-star. And, he's got to do what he has to do. And then rounding up the top 5, Damian Lillard, averaging 29.6 points a game, 4.4 rebounds a game, and 8 assists a game. Dame is doing his thing too. Curry and Dame just went at it the other night. And, who's going to have the last shot? Who is going to come in at clutch time? And it was Dame. I asked this question, Luka or Dame? Again, look at what Dame's doing. Clutch time, making the 3-pointers, making the last shots that matter. Every shot matters, but to come down and shoot the game-winning shot or the go-ahead shot, that's what he's been doing. He's been doing that for a while and doing it great. Like I said, Luka or Dame. You can pick either one. Both are going to do what they do. Both of them are going to do the same thing. When you need them in clutch time, they're going to make those shots. They're going to take those shots, and they're going to make those shots. Dame has been doing that. Dame, I guess you can say, some say that he got snubbed from the starters. Others, say he didn't. That's where the Luka and Dame question came up, because Luka got voted in as a starter over Dame. It's a popularity contest, but who had the better game? Who's having the better numbers? Dame's having better games, but Luka has better numbers. But it's, it is what it is. They're going to do what they can. They're going to do what they do. And they're going to they're here to play ball. Well, that's all the BS I have for this episode. Until next time.